All right, I think we're good. Can you guys hear me and see me okay? Any interaction in the live chat would do. All right, that was really weird. So it wasn't my connection. OBS just crashed on me altogether, and simply restarting OBS seemed to do the trick. Not sure why that happened whatsoever, but glad that we're back. For those watching on the playback, assuming you stuck it out for 7.5 minutes of a blank screen, welcome to my daily live stream. We cover the markets from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Again, apologize to everybody for I can't even really explain what was going on there, but it looks like the stream is working, so now we can kind of pick up where we were originally supposed to leave off, which I guess is technically the start of the live stream. So if you're new here, what we do is we do an overall market wellness check. That's how we kick off the stream. That includes looking at the crypto market. Then we move on to silver and gold, see how those are moving. We track the Japanese bond market daily here on this channel. Things are really getting out of hand with that one. So we'll talk about that. I have an interesting tweet that I saw. It's someone who's basically agreeing with what I've been saying. I don't know who they are. It's just a tweet I came across. We'll take a look at that, and then we'll see how the overall stock market's doing as well. If you aren't aware, the Davos Economic Forum, the World Economic Forum, the summit's happening right now. And tensions between the United States and Canada are getting pretty crazy. I was able to listen to some of the live coverage yesterday. We could be looking at some political turmoil that's going to have a serious effect on the market. We just don't exactly know how. Meanwhile, over in Japan, it does look like some things have been moved around. I have a theory that we've already seen some liquidations start. The Japanese bonds have fallen quite a lot in the past 24 hours, so it's going to be interesting to see how all of this unwinds. Unfortunately, XRP's price hasn't moved yet. None of us have a crystal ball, so we're going to have to take these things one at a time and just be open-minded that there's factors at play that maybe not all of us fully understand. So we just had to kind of take everything with a grain of salt. But I do think the reverse carry trade may have already started. I'm going to pull up CoinMarketCap and we're just going to get cracking right into it. So let me just get myself adjusted here so that I'm not blocking all the coins. That should be good. So the overall market, nothing too crazy has happened the past 24 hours. Unfortunately, everything did go down a little bit. I have a feeling there could be some early liquidations going on that is entirely relevant to the Japanese bond market. So Bitcoin does seem to be sliding a little bit. Nothing crazy. I mean, it basically laid flat yesterday, right? For almost a 24-hour period, it kind of hung in there at that 90 to 91,000 range, but now it's dipped down to 88K. I suspect some of this might be liquidations for the reverse carry trade. I would have thought that we'd see some price movement already for XRP if that is the case. Unfortunately, XRP's down as well. Just 24 hours ago, we had almost cracked back into the twos. We were right there on the border of it. And now we're down to 191. So the market's been very, very volatile lately. In fact, I'd say it's been more volatile than normal. In the past month, XRP is almost looking like a roller coaster these days, especially in the past 3 days. You check the market, any given hour of the day, it might be up, 2 or 3% in either direction, up and down. So there's a lot of whiplash right now. Hard to really see where everything is going. All I can say is that if we just, I have this theory, You want to be bamboo in a hurricane. You know, you want to bend a little bit but never snap. I still think that we are looking at the best buying opportunities for crypto that we've ever really seen, at least in the past year. There is a potential for this to go down a little bit further. Unfortunately, the news coming out of Davos is not great. I was hearing some things, you know, coming from Canada and Finland that they might try to break alliances with the United States altogether. When you're saying something like that on an economic forum's world stage, you know, those are not statements to be taken lightly. So we're going to have to see how all of that plays out. I did buy some Flare yesterday. I was very disappointed that I couldn't get it when it was at its below penny status. I mean, it was down there for a little bit, right? Maybe not on this day. Oh, yeah, here we go. Right over here, you know, Flare got all the way down to 0.0098. I bought it somewhere around here. I had to make some moves and I didn't get the cash in time, but does it really matter? Not really. It's just a vanity thing. I want to catch up with the chat since I haven't had a chance to really say good morning to everyone. Good morning, Baller, Scorpio, Peter, AL3. Glad to see you guys in here. We got YOLO, we got FRD, we got Pat, Steph, Desire, and Darrell. Happy to see all of you guys. Sorry that the stream, for whatever reason, off to a weird start. My OBS was acting up on me. Maybe that means I need to just get in the habit of shutting my computer down at the end of the night and starting up fresh. I got a comment here right off the bat from Darrell saying, did you hear the governor of Europe say he believes in CBDCs and that central banks should be the only ones issuing and holding coins? I didn't hear that one yet, but it doesn't surprise me to hear that. I'm kind of walking a fine line right now between creating content and then also doing research. It's tough to be able to do both. So over the weekend, you know, I don't really shoot videos on the weekend. That's going to give me a really good opportunity to dig through a lot of the Davos footage and really kind of break it all down, because I do want to cover a lot of the news coming out from that. Unfortunately, you know, when I'm live streaming or when I'm editing a video, you know, later in the afternoon, that takes time away from seeing some of this stuff. But to that comment in particular, you know, it's not surprising to me that Europe would want to go the CBDC route. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to throw the definition of CBDC up here so that everybody's on the same page and knows what we're talking about. So a CBDC is a central bank digital currency. So to put this in the most layman's terms possible and make this as easy for everyone to understand, a CBDC is the exact opposite of decentralized or self-custody, digital freedom. It is basically the antithesis of that. So CBDC is just basically another word for central government. So a CBDC would be something you'd expect in China. You'd expect something like that in North Korea or Iran. To see Europe want to go the CBDC route doesn't surprise me at all, but it's still disappointing. I don't think CBDCs are going to be an overall good thing for us in the crypto space in general, but I have this, you know, pessimistic feeling that it's inevitable. We were never going to actually win this fight. I think the best thing you can do is just position yourself to at least make a lot of money out of this. But I think it will, in the long run, come at the expense of our digital privacy. That's just a theory that I have. I may have missed a comment. Oh, FRD, I like that. Okay. I thought for a second I was glancing through and I thought someone was talking to you. Thank you for explaining CBDC. I'm going to build a cut sheet with all these acronyms. I've had a video idea that I've been kind of kicking around lately. I haven't shot it because it'll probably take a while to do. But I was thinking about making a video that's quite literally like a dictionary or a glossary of cryptocurrency terms. And this video wouldn't be designed for you to watch it start to finish, but it'll be something that maybe like bookmark on YouTube or bookmark on like Google or whatever. And anytime you hear a crypto vocabulary word that maybe you just need to brush up on it, or maybe you've never heard it before, hopefully it would be in that video, and I'll just have a chapter title for every single thing. And it'd be a pretty boring video to watch start to finish, but I'll just go one by one. Like CBDC, here's what that means. What is staking? Here's what staking is. What is a node? This is what a node is. What is a validator? This is what a validator is. What is a layer 1 blockchain? What is a layer 2 blockchain? What does a JP10Y stand for? What is a reverse carry trade? Because I think there's so many content creators out there that take for granted that there's new people coming in this space all the time. And if you watch a creator on a daily basis, you kind of move along with the story. So, if we talk about something for 2 or 3 months straight, the regular audience will know what's going on, but someone who's hopping in for the first time is going to be like, I don't know what any of this stuff means. So I've been kicking that one around. It's one of those things where it's like you got to find the time to do it, and you have to find a way to squeeze it in with some of the more current content or like the current event stuff. But it's definitely something, I think it's definitely something that would be really helpful for people. And in general, I'll try my best to just continually define things as I go. I know that some people are really happy that I explained what BIPs were, because you hear it in the finance space a lot. A BIP is slang or shorthand for basis point, and a basis point is 1/100th of a percent. I've had some people tell me that they are really happy to hear me say that, so I'll try to keep doing that. I see Ben says bearable guy video. Was there another one? Or I know there was a video from someone named Bearable Bull. I'll wait for you to follow up with that. If there's a new video, we could try to check it out. Josh says, can you delegate Flare and Decent? You can. Anything that you can do with the Flare token, you can do on a Decent wallet. The only exception to that, at least for now, it doesn't seem like Decent has... hold on, I just got a phone call. It doesn't seem like Decent has synchronization yet with the F Assets application, and that would be with your FXRP in particular. I think that'll probably come down the line, but I don't believe it's active yet. It's something I can follow up on. I haven't tried it in a few months, so maybe it actually is, and I just didn't know that it went through. But that's why for FXRP and also STXRP, which is the Firelight, I've been using a Bifrost for that. In general, not a big fan of hot wallets. So hold on, it's getting hot in here. I gotta pop this window. Major reason I don't really like hot wallets is because anywhere that you go with Wi-Fi connected on your phone, you're basically a sitting duck for someone who knows how to really manipulate, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi settings. Because all you have to do is, think about it like this. I don't know how often you guys travel, but all you have to do is go to an airport or a shopping mall. And if you walk by a Starbucks, maybe you've seen this yourself, you get a pop-up on your phone asking to join Starbucks Wi-Fi. I've literally seen this happen to me just about every time I go to a shopping mall. Well, it's very easy for a hacker to spoof that. So you might think that you're connecting to Starbucks Wi-Fi. You've actually just synchronized your phone to a spoofer who is now going to put malware on your device that's going to clone your phone, including your biometrics. I don't exactly know how they do that, but I've heard the horror stories of it happening. And what'll happen is, they're not going to drain your wallet right then and there. They're going to let a few days go by. Maybe 3-4 days later, you check your wallet one day and just everything's gone. And, it's been a few days. You don't know where you were that got all this screwed up. And by that point, the hacker in that Starbucks lobby, long gone. So for that reason, I don't really like hot wallets. However, if you do have a hot wallet, One thing you can do to keep yourself safe, and this is a pretty solid way to do things, is to just never have Wi-Fi on your phone turned on after you leave the house. So if you leave the house, just go to your Wi-Fi settings and turn it off. That's one way to do it. And then maybe also disable the AirDrop feature on your iPhone if you have an iPhone. That could be another way to prevent that. Aside from that, hot wallets, I will give them some credit. They are very easy to use, very efficient. When I'm using the Bifrost wallet, it's like, man, this thing is just lightning fast. The Descent app, I've noticed, can be a little bit clunky at times, but then it's just so secure. You know, you get the little gadget. You have to have a thumbprint to even open it. So if someone were to break in your house and steal your Descent wallet, not only would they need your seed phrase, well, actually, if they had your seed phrase, then you'd really be screwed. But even if they stole your cell phone, right? Let's say maybe they don't have maybe they don't have your seed phrase, but they have your cell phone, they have your Descent wallet. Without that thumbprint, they're still not getting in. So it's just added layers of security that, you know, I really like. If you guys want Descent, I do have a video showing how to set that up that I can throw into the live chat description real quick. Or not description, but the chat log is what I meant to say. Let me just go here and grab it real quick. It's a little long. This was back when I just started the channel, so my editing skills weren't the best at that time, and maybe I wasn't as succinct as I could have been. I don't really know if you need 27 minutes to set up a cold wallet, but for what it's worth, this video really takes you through basically every single setting that you could ever see on the cold wallet, and I do think it's actually a pretty good video. Maybe someday I'll reshoot it and make it more fast and to the point. I just don't know if 27 minutes is needed for a cold wallet setup. But that's just the nature of the game, you know. I mean, I'm still relatively new to this, but it's kind of interesting to see how far it's come in just, you know, 3 months. I mean, you can see right here, my oldest video doesn't even have oh, you guys can't see. My oldest video doesn't even have a 3 months old tag on it yet. So, interesting stuff, you know. It's just like, man, this thing's really, really growing. Before you know it, we'll be at 10K subs. And I appreciate all of you guys, by the way, for helping me make this a reality. I do see there's 33 of you in here right now. If I could get you guys to like the stream, that'll help more people find this down the road. And it also might help people that are out there right now on YouTube discover this stream. I'm going to close my door real quick. Yeah, right now I'm sure it's winter everywhere else too, but real interesting, you know, it's cold outside, very hot in my house. So like the temperature control lately it's been very interesting. Dan says, Andrew, what profession were you in prior to making YouTube content? Great question. So I don't know if any of you guys will be familiar with this or not, but I used to work in a software called SAP. And I did SAP development for about 10 years for a major automotive company here in my area. So I was with that company 10 years straight. I was always in the SAP department. I got pretty good at it over the span of 10 years, but I didn't, just because I was good at it doesn't mean I enjoyed it. It's a very soul-draining profession. I hate to put it that way, but you know, you're in Microsoft Teams calls usually 4 to 5 hours a day. A lot of the times they're very redundant, going over the same exact topics that you talked about yesterday and the week prior and the month prior. And once I got laid off in April, in April of 2025, by the way, it occurred to me that this is my chance to try new things. So I picked up a contracting gig. It was an SAP contract, but it was a 6-month contract. So I always knew that November was going to be the end of that contract. And I spent that time, you know, you guys can't see it on your end, but I've got multiple monitors up. I've got these lights system. Obviously, I've got this microphone. I got this professional camera in front of me. So I spent a couple of months researching, like, what do you need in order to be a YouTuber? And I just went out and got all the equipment up front. Some of those beginner YouTube channels say to just start with a cell phone. I don't know if I really agree with that. Personally, I wouldn't really want to watch a video being filmed on an iPhone. So I just said, you know, if I'm going to do this thing, let's just go all the way in. I think all this equipment cost me somewhere in the realm of like $5,000. But I had time to accumulate it, so it's not such a big deal for me. Ben asks, is there a fitness YouTuber that you recommend that does 1-hour live videos? I want to watch someone work out and do what they do for an hour. I don't know, maybe I could do that. I still work out a ton. If you guys don't know, my channel started as a fitness channel. I know my channel right here says I only have 54 videos, but if you go to my playlist tab, and I still have them all up, by the way. I used to be a keto diet guy, so I used to design my own videos. I don't like being shirtless on camera anymore. I'm gonna close this thing out, but where's the playlist? I know here we go. I mean, if you guys really wanted to, I've got this playlist.
Hey, what's going on?
I was kind of hoping it would give me a menu to go through and not just start with a video. I know on the iPhone it does that, but anyways.
So that's going to be the first.
If you guys really wanted to, I mean, I got this playlist. There's probably over 200 videos in here. Gone through multiple hairstyles over the years, by the way. Maybe it could be kind of fun at some point to go through my very first video that I ever posted. I'm surprised that it's so hard to navigate this thing. Maybe if I go here. Yeah, get out here. Okay, there we go. Health and fitness archive. Yeah, there we go. I want to see the videos, man. Why? There we go. Jeez, you know, sometimes these menus drive me crazy. Maybe when we get to 10,000 subs, just for fun, as like a celebratory video. This was the first video I ever shot like 4 years ago as my failed fitness channel. Sometimes I go back and watch this just to remind myself how bad I was at speaking in front of a camera.
But you just don't have the energy to do it.
It sounds weird to say this because, like, you know, I've been doing this for a while now, but talking to a camera is a whole nother beast. Like, you guys can't see it, but from my perspective, there's just this giant black circle. And I don't know why, but it is very unnatural to talk to. Eventually, you just get used to it. But yeah, I used to make fitness content. I wanted to be like a Jeff Nippard or Will Tennyson type channel, and it just didn't work out that way. I don't know, I just couldn't break out. I made almost 200 videos, and the channel only ever got to 1,500 subs. I switched to crypto. I get 6,000 subs in 2 months. So it's like, all right, you got. I'm not saying you guys, but it seems like people have more of an appetite for crypto than they do fitness content. So that's why I made that switch. But I still work out like crazy. I still know all the stuff I knew then. I guess I just don't talk about it as much. This playlist is there though. If you guys want to watch this, let's see. I know that I had some demonstration videos. Let me see. I think it would have been in. Let me see which folder it would be in. In the health and fitness archive. I know somewhere down here are some demo videos of, man, look how awful some of these thumbnails are. Yeah, I did some technique videos. So this one right here is good. Shoulders 101, 6 chest exercises. I mean, if you just dig through here, we don't necessarily have to go through it now, but here we go. Don't overthink the gym. This was a gym video. I used to kind of look like an 80s bodybuilder with the long curly hair. But if you want to learn how to work out, I still think this is pretty good content. It just didn't really get the views I was looking for. But I think I'm way off track right now. I'm supposed to be talking about crypto right now, giving you guys the crypto news. Steph says, didn't recognize you in those. You know, I'm like the Forrest Gump of hairstyles. I used to have a man bun. I'm not even kidding about that. We don't got to dig those up. But if you guys stalk me on Instagram, I think there's a couple man bun photos still in there. But let me... Let me jump back into the finance related stuff. One question before I get back into crypto. Power Bryce says, are you in Atlanta? I don't know why companies use SAP. SAP has so many holes in warehouse operations like Swift. No, I'm in Detroit. I don't know if I'm supposed to say where I worked or not, but you know, I wouldn't be able to stop you guys from going to LinkedIn. So if you want to know exactly where I worked, it's on there. You know, SAP, I think it's going to get replaced by blockchain technology. I mean, the things that HBAR in particular is doing could probably replace SAP. I'm going to the HBAR Dev Conference in February, so that's been booked. I don't know what to expect. I think it's going to be a little bit more technical than financial, but I figure it's still good for me to go and see how does this technology actually work. And then I'll relay that all back to you guys. My plan is to bring as much equipment with me to Denver as I can. I'll probably stream from the hotel room and at least talk about what it is I saw while I was there. And I'll see if they'll let me film inside the actual conference, but they might not. I've never been to one of these, so I don't know like what the rules are going to be. But one way or another, I'll be taking as many notes as I can at this HBAR Dev Conference, and I think through that I'm going to really get some good hands-on experience with their actual tools. I'd still like to go to the Ripple conference in May, but it's a little expensive, so maybe after this HBAR conference, if that one goes well, I might start like a GoFundMe or something, because it'll probably cost me about $2,000 between the flight, the hotel, and the admission to the event itself is like $600, which is quite a lot. I was a little surprised to see that, but the things you do for research, right? Shelby says, I work out every day. I switched to a high protein diet at the beginning of the summer, and by the end of the summer, I went from 200 to 174. That's awesome. That's really good. Yeah, high protein diet is basically the way to do it. This morning, you know, I pretty much just have a Premier protein shake that gets me through this stream. And then I just eat a bunch of chicken, and I pretty much only eat my carbs before I go for a run. So I am signed up for a marathon, so I gotta start running a little bit more. But I lift weights 6 days a week. I'm on 2 different hockey teams. I'm in multiple run clubs. If I'm not doing crypto, I'm doing something fitness related. Definitely supposed to be covering crypto news. I pulled up HBAR's chart because you know, I'm going to this conference here in February. But just like everything else, HBAR's price went down through the week, and it's just been kind of this roller coaster ride. To Ben's question, I know that we got a mixed audience here, so I'm hesitant to answer that one. Do with that what you will. Darrell asks, what state and city is Ripple holding their conference? It's going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada. In fact, I can just pull this thing up. I bet it's, yeah, here we go. XRP Las Vegas. So it's in about 100 days, basically. It's a 2-day conference. I think it's April 30th to May 1st or something like that. But I mean, it's going to have all the big people at it. I think Brad will be there. Yeah. Paul Barron will be there. I love his content. You know, I sometimes wonder, like, I'm not trying to be Paul Barron, but I would like to start doing some of the stuff that he does, like having guests on the show and stuff like that. I think would be cool. I mean, this is going to be a big thing. I mean, we got Brad. We got David Schwartz. Honestly, you guys, even if I don't get the funding for this, I might just go anyways. I think this could be really cool. But you'll see that the tickets on this are pretty expensive. So yeah, it's April 30th to May 1st. I want to see the price. So I don't want to fill this part out. I know somewhere on here. Oh yeah, here it is. General admission, $589, of course, right? Of course it would be $589. You get 2-day admission with coffee and lunch served. They have an after party with a pool and DJ. If I do go, I wouldn't expect anyone to cover that, but it seems like the kind of thing that, you know, that's probably where all the connections are made. So it's like, oh, you probably should go if you're going to make the trip. So, you know, all in, you're looking at about $1,000 just to get in the door. It doesn't even include your flight or hotel. So I'm thinking about it. This would be kind of an expensive event to go to. I know it's a month away, or not a month. It's 100 days away. So, you know, we'll keep talking about it on the stream, and maybe we start a GoFundMe or something like that. Mill, you sent me an email. I'll try to get to it after the stream. I don't know. How recently was it? So I get a ton of emails. Awesome, Ben. Thank you for the $2. I'm giving you a super heart for that. If you could tell me when around the time you sent that email, I can filter it out. I get probably 5 to 10 emails a day from people who want to either be my YouTube editor or design my thumbnails for me, and it really bogs down my ability to sort out like what's a real email from one of you guys versus what's someone, and I almost don't want to say it out loud, but you know, all these emails are coming from South Asia, if you know what I'm saying. Mill. Are your initials RG? If that's you, then we can talk after. We can talk after this. Darrell says, "What do they teach or do at these conferences?" I haven't been to one of these yet, so. All right, sweet. I see you, Mill. I see your email. We'll connect after the stream. I haven't been to one of these conferences yet, so I really don't know what to expect. But the idea is that as a creator, I'd want to go there and almost be kind of like an independent journalist and just get as much information as I can and then relay it back to you guys. And just looking at some of these taglines, you know, we got DeFi. You guys know I love my DeFi. I'm not much of a builder. I don't know, but I feel like I should know. I should at least know enough about it to talk about it, right? That's kind of one of the goals. Then they got policy. That's all the nice boring stuff, like your Clarity Act. real exciting material going through legislation. I tried reading the Clarity Act. It's a tough read. I got maybe like 10 pages in before I was like, man, just need the cliff notes on this thing. And then this last box over here is Web3, so that'll be like your security and things like that. But I'm excited to see, you know, these speakers. I mean, you got Paul Barron, Brad, and David Schwartz. Off the bat, those are three pretty important people. I know Paul Barron's more on my side of things as like a reporter in a way, but I mean, wouldn't it be awesome to even just be able to get a photo with these guys would be cool, or even a photo with Paul or something like that. I don't think the H-Bar conference is going to be anywhere near as big. So Hedera Denver's conference, it doesn't look like they've got any of the major speakers. So let's see, where is it? Here we go. Yeah, here it is. So we got the conference here from, let me see if I can pull this thing up. I'm just going to start over. There's a better, I think it's, wait, shit, this is their one from last year. Hedera Denver 2026. Okay. There we go. Man, sometimes, you know, when you're on the fly, like, oh man, I'm streaming, I got to get to this shit right away. This is the one I'm going to. So, Denver, February 17th. I don't know if they've announced their speakers yet. I don't think this has been... Oh, they have. Okay, cool. So I don't know if you guys recognize any of these names, but these will be the speakers. I'm hoping to really get a good understanding here when I go to this of what it is they do. It does seem a lot, this is going to be a little bit more on the technical side. You know, you got chief scientist, platform product, VP of engineering. So I think it's probably going to be more technical than financial, but I feel like anything that you can learn in this space is a good way to, I mean, it's all connected, right? You know, like we're on the finance side, we all want to make money, but you know, why does it make money? Because there's an underlying technology that's going to revolutionize the finance system, right? So hoping to learn some of that when I'm there. Catching up, Darrell says, Paul Barron made a $62 price prediction for XRP. I like his content as well, but do you think it's plausible in the next couple of years? I definitely do. You know, I'm right there with you guys that I'm a little disappointed things didn't play out the way that we thought they were going to. I genuinely believed in 2025 that we would have had price appreciation for XRP by October. I don't know if you guys remember back then, but the three major things everyone was talking about was the ETF launch, which we did end up getting, ISO 20022, which we ended up getting, and then what was the third one? We had the ETFs, the ISO. I'm brain farting here. Oh, Clarity Act, right? Did I say that? Okay, so ISO, ETF, Clarity Act. Yeah, there's the three. And all of those are supposed to be kind of rolling out in that October, November timeframe. We did get the ETS, we did get the ISO. I'll be honest, I mean, I was as surprised as anyone that it didn't change the price. That being said, I still do believe that 2025 it didn't happen, but I think a $62 XRP is very reasonable in the next couple of years. And I don't think 62 is the ceiling. I think that's really closer to the floor. I'm going to jump over to our favorite chart here, the Japanese government bond. I think this thing could be the driver for sending XRP definitely into the double digits in the potential near term. I wonder, and I've been thinking about this all week. Well, I guess not all week because it was only 2 days ago. But I've been thinking about this at least since Tuesday. We saw the 10-year bond. Let me make sure that you guys can see the screen all right. I'm going to drag it a little bit more down. We saw on Tuesday the bonds hit an all-time high of 2.38, and then the 2 days since then, it's gone all the way down to 2.25. Now that's a pretty steep correction that I'm actually kind of surprised to see. It makes me wonder, have we already started to see the reverse carry trade start to unwind, and maybe the prices just haven't caught up yet? And some things that made me think that could be the case. Let me pull up the S&P 500. This one should be good. So if we look at the 5-year on, or not 5-year, but if we look at the 5-day chart on the S&P 500, on the 16th of January, we see a pretty sharp fall off, which is pretty abnormal for stocks in general. The market's not usually this volatile. But I believe it was on the 20th that, yeah, the 20th opened at, I wish this thing wasn't on UTC. I wish this was on Eastern time. I wonder if that's something I can change. I'm pretty sure Eastern time zone is 5 hours ahead of UTC, or maybe it's 5 hours behind. Shoot. Let me just find that out real quick. Okay, so Eastern time, subtract 5 hours. Okay, cool. So here's where I'm trying to go with this. Markets in the United States open at 9:30 Eastern time, so that would have been like 2 p.m. UTC. So, okay, here it is. Or was it here? I'm sorry, I'm all tripped up now. I think this right here is when the market opened, because, and I apologize, the time zones on this site are tripping me up right now. But I guess the main point I'm trying to get at is that we saw a major slide. I mean, it was quite a lot of money coming out of the market all at one time. You go from 68 down to 67, which in the terms of the S&P 500 is a pretty big deal. We cross-reference that with the Japanese bond market, you know, similar time frame, that this wipeout, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to stack these on top of each other very well, but let me at least see if I can try. Oh, this is kind of working. Not really. I would need to have a better way to stack my screens, but either way, on the 20th, I guess what I'm trying to get to here is the stock market goes down, the Japanese bond market goes down, and then crypto also went down. So it makes me wonder, did we see on the 20th the beginning of the reverse carry trade? And then it takes a few days for these sell orders to actually settle, because remember, stocks aren't, you know, on the chain yet, so it takes a couple days for those bank settlements to clear. Is it possible that right now these sell orders are just going into cash accounts? What did I do with that S&P 500? There we go. Could this be going to cash accounts that will then get moved over to Japan to pay off the carry trade? And did they use XRP or not? It doesn't look like they did, unfortunately, because, you know, XRP's at $1.92. It's just something we got to keep looking at. At the end of the day, I don't want to be a hype salesman, so I don't want to say with absolute certainty this is what's going to happen, or here's where the price is going to go. It's just what I do believe, that the reverse carry trade will make XRP's price go up. Are we looking at the reverse carry trade happening right now? I don't know. The best I can do is just look at what's happening and then offer up my analysis to it. Got some movement over here on the chat, so I'm going to catch up with what you guys have been writing. Stuart, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you guys. This is the kind of stuff that helps keep this channel sustainable, and I think that $2 will probably go towards that XRP conference admission ticket. So I appreciate you. Ben says, I was asking Chat GPT questions. It was saying $100 around 2045. I think it'll happen much sooner than that, but even if it didn't, I mean, let's play that out. The stock market, let me see if I can get this thing back up here. So here's a 10-year chart of the stock market. It looks way better on my cell phone, by the way, when you use like the cell phone charts. But 2016 S&P 500 is at $2,000. 2026 S&P 500 is at $7,000. So that's what, a 3.5x over 10 years. And for some reason this chart doesn't go beyond 2015. That's really weird to me, but whatever. The S&P 500 over 10 years only did 3.5x. So if XRP is $100 in 2045, that's still, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's still a 50x from where we're at right now, right? So I know that everyone wants this thing to happen tomorrow, but even if you had to hold XRP until 2045, do we say 2045 or 2035? I guess 2045 would be 20 years from now. Even still, if you were to get 50x over 20 years, that's still beating the regular stock market. I don't think that we will have to wait that long. I really don't. I think that $100 XRP will probably happen before 2030. I'll eat one of my hockey skate laces if I'm wrong. But set your calendars for December 31st, 2030. If XRP is under $100, I'll eat one of the laces to my skates. So I got 5 years. Got 5 years there to be right or wrong, but that's just what I think. I see we got 45 in the chat. If you guys are brand new, just hopping in for the first time, I stream the daily markets from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Today we got a little sidetrack talking about my old bodybuilding channel. That was fun, but in general, what we do here is go through the overall markets. We analyze, where things moving, what headlines are making waves. Right now we've got Davos, so trying to cover off some of the good and some of the bad news coming out of that. If you could like this stream, we're only at 28 likes. Every little bit helps get this live stream spread out to the general public. And then if you're brand new here, consider subscribing so that you'll be kept in the loop for the next stream. I also do pre-recorded videos. I try to do about 5 videos a week right now. So we're just pumping out content here. Lots of good stuff. A lot of exciting stuff too. Good news or bad news, there's definitely a lot of action in the crypto market lately. We got Rated Russian. When it comes to crypto, any of those Grok or ChatGPTs will just give you a crazy answer. Yeah, I don't take anything that these AI bots say at face value. I play, or at least I used to play before I started this channel, played a decent amount of World of Warcraft, and I played World of Warcraft Classic, meaning I was playing the original version that came out in 2004. Somebody on the Classic WoW subreddit was posting ChatGPT questions that you could ask about World of Warcraft Classic. And we were all laughing about how some of the answers it would give were just hilariously wrong. And that was kind of a wake-up call to me that ChatGPT can give answers that sound like it's very confident in what it's saying. But if you're actually a subject matter expert on some of this stuff, like, for example, one person asked ChatGPT what was the best route to take to clear a certain dungeon, and the responses were saying things that weren't even applicable to the game. asking ChatGPT what the price is going to be, I think is just a completely frivolous thing to do. I don't think ChatGPT is designed to give that kind of information. It's more, let's put it this way: ChatGPT scans the internet for what people are saying, and so if there's a whole bunch of people putting FUD out there, it's factoring that FUD into its response. And we all know, if you spend any amount of time on Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, any of the other social platforms for XRP, everybody hates XRP except the people that are buying and holding it like us. So I don't put too much stake into what these chat bots say. But that's just how I feel about it. Ben says, I hope you're right. I'm down quite a lot. Didn't start stacking until early October. I didn't put in the time, but I've put in the effort. If it makes you feel better, I've been playing catch up myself. I know I got in this thing in 2024, but I wasn't taking it seriously in 2024. That's the honest truth. I was buying more Bitcoin and ETH back then. I was just buying XRP because my buddy kept telling me to buy it, and I'd be like, all right, I gotta shut this dude up. I gotta buy this XRP and just make him happy. It wasn't until this happened that I was like, oh my gosh, I need to be buying more XRP. And that's when I really started to research it and try to really understand it. I bought here, I bought some XRP at around 350. Not ashamed to admit it. I bought basically every one of these candles basically was at least $50 or something going in for just about every single one of them. I didn't buy a single stock in 2025. In fact, I almost didn't buy any other crypto in 2025. I bought Flare and HBAR, but I shut down my ETH, I shut down my Bitcoin, I shut down Solana. And that December 2024 spike was the thing right here. And I want to see if I can make this look prettier. Yeah, there we go. This right here was what got me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to be buying XRP. And at the time, no other coin moved like that, right? Like XRP went from 50 cents in November, and this is around the time that I was putting like $100 in, right? Like it's basically nothing. And then it gets up to here, and I'm looking at my XRP, and it's like outpacing some of these other coins that I was feeding real money into. And maybe to some extent we kind of all deserve to get a little bit burned here. Why weren't we buying it when it was 50 cents? But you can't turn back time. 50 cents was its old floor. Now I think $2 is the new floor. Worst case scenario, if this is a bumpy road, if 2026 is a bad year for us, we probably sit around this $2 range for a couple of months, and then the next time XRP rips, if it follows the Bitcoin halving cycle, and let's just say the reverse carry trade doesn't go the way we want it to, XRP will probably still hit $8 at some point this year, and maybe slide back down to like 4 or 5. But anyone buying XRP right now, whether you hopped in, last year in July, or if you're buying right now, or like October in your case, we're all going to get made whole. I firmly believe some point at this year, there won't be a single person holding XRP that's not in the green. We just might have to hang in there a little longer. There's a chart. I'd like to see if I can pull it up. Sometimes this thing can be hard to find. If I go to images, I think this is the one. Sometimes these things don't always load correctly. Let's just see. I might have to try a few different links before we get this thing right. Okay, yeah, accept your cookies. All right, come on. I'm streaming. Yeah, this looks good. Oh, but this says XRP to ETH. See, I don't want that. I want XRP to USD. That's where this gets annoying sometimes. It's like, I want the chart that we're gonna go away from this chart. I want to get a USD XRP to USD chart, and that's a Bitcoin one. Here we go. XRP monthly returns. But it only goes to June of 2025, so that's no good. Can we get one that is recent? Okay, this one only goes to 2024, so that's even worse. This might take me a second, you guys, but I do want to get this chart up because I think it really is telling a big story. If we have to, we'll work with the 2025 chart, but I'd really like to get one that's up to date. Come on. It's just like, why can't you give me the thing I search for? Maybe monthly returns. Oh my gosh, come on. Okay, if I don't find it, we'll just pop one open. Fine. I'll just open this one because I can't get I don't know why there's no up-to-date one. I don't know why it's so hard to get what you're looking for sometimes. Let me see it. If you guys can see this better, let me try to zoom it in so it's not so hard to read for you guys. So I'm really bummed out that this isn't the chart that's up to date, but sometimes it can be very hard to get what you're looking for, especially when you're live. XRP, if you'll notice, it will have very, very crazy months, just not all the time, right? So looking at 2024, November had a 281% growth. Then it did 7% in December, 50% in January. Remember, this is where it got up to around $3 and like 30 or 40 cents. And then it slides. Oddly enough, this thing doesn't show that in July it went back up to, all-time high at 360, but then it falls again. Man, I really wish I had the up-to-date chart because it's so important. But I guess what I'm just trying to get to here is that historically, over the past, nearly 15 years or so, XRP only has a few good months. In the rest of the year, it kind of doesn't go very well. And if we were to see the full data here, from August to December, I think we would have 5 red boxes in a row, and January would probably also be red, if not in the very, very low greens, right? Like maybe 1 or 2% green. But I am a firm believer that we're not far away from the next big leg up, and I almost feel like I have an axe to grind. Like I really want to get the up-to-date chart. Like there's got to be a way to get it. Wait, what? If you are not a citizen, why do I have to do that? Oh, whatever. What are they gonna do? Sue me? I'll just have to find a copy of one of these myself. Maybe CoinMarketCap has one. This will be my last try. If CoinMarketCap doesn't have a chart like that, then I'll just look for it offline. It might not have it. Was Dex mode? I don't know if this is gonna be what we want. No. Well, anyways, I hope that you guys kind of got the idea. That wasn't exactly what I was hoping, that we'd be able to see all the squares up to January, and it didn't work out that way. But let me fix the screen so that it's back to its normal size. Just the way it goes sometimes when you're streaming, the thing that you're looking for, you just can't seem to find. Is this right? No, we can get it a little better. There we go. I think that's good. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm going to catch up with the chat because I think I was probably a little distracted there. Let's get it done. Awesome, man. Glad to have you here. Sorry that I couldn't find the thing I was looking for. I hope that the idea kind of came across correct. It can sometimes be hard to get what you're looking for when you're live, but I appreciate you hopping in here and subscribing nonetheless. Let's see, Darrell, you got me. Do it live. I have to catch up with what you guys were saying here. We got March 10. I've seen March 10 coming around. I know we've been looking at the bearable guy stuff. I think we could look at that again here in a minute. Oh, we got Zerp says, hey Ben, plan on years of dollar cost averaging. The reverse carry trade is just a theory. Stay realistic, objective, and skeptical. It sounds too good to be true. It usually is. I agree with that. I do believe in the reverse carry trade theory. I really do want it to play out. But even if it doesn't, you know, I did a video earlier this week that we just followed the Bitcoin halving cycle, and you know, it's not what we all want, but could still be looking at like a $6 or $7 XRP, maybe $8 at the most by the end of the year. I mean, I personally would be kind of disappointed in that, but maybe sometimes we get a little arrogant with our crypto, thinking that we deserve 4 or 5x gains back to back, when in reality, I mean, this is outperforming the stock market by so much, even at where it's at right now, that maybe we got to be a little bit more realistic about that. Really got to catch up on the chat here. Ben says, why do so many people hate XRP unless they are competitors? I agree. I don't know how you could hate XRP after researching how it really works. Russian says, I just got in around $2 playing catch up. This is a great time to be playing catch up. You wouldn't want to have been playing catch up at 350, I'll tell you that. So that's awesome. Ben says, I'm sorry. I'm probably referring to the chart not popping up the way that I wanted it to. Baller says, my average is mid to high $2 range. I bought some over 3 as well. Yep. Oh, Pat had a good point. By the way, this channel is entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, not a registered or licensed professional. So always do your own research. Thanks for reminding me. You guys are looking out for me. I appreciate that quite a lot, because I sometimes forget to do that stuff. Baller says, I wish I would have understood the crypto and how to get into it before the election, but it is what it is. I'm holding out for hopefully the future. Yeah, you know, everyone has an entry point, but the thing I want to really impress on you guys is that we're all buying crypto before the man on the TV says that it's okay to. You go to any mainstream network and they still talk about crypto like it's this like almost radioactive. It's like radioactive money that's going to ruin your life. You know, Kramer doesn't like it. Any of your Good Morning America stuff, they still talk about Bitcoin like even this guy at Davos was saying that you can't trust Bitcoin because you don't know who's issuing it. It's like, dude, like Bitcoin doesn't get issued. These people don't even know what they're talking about. And I'm not even a Bitcoin guy, but like to hear these people on the TV be so blatantly wrong about something. The fact that we're buying this now, we're so early, you guys. Like, even if you feel like you're late, you're not. Whatever happens, I know the price, you know, I guarantee you guys, this thing starts moving. We have 2 or 3 months back to back where it just goes up and doesn't go down like a normal bull market does. People are going to be piling in. Like, there's going to be no shortage of new people getting into XRP or crypto in general the next time it takes a run. And so, yeah, there's people out there that are earlier. There's people earlier than me, earlier than you. I wouldn't really look at it that way. Just be thankful that you're in here when you got in. Darrell says, went from 0.5 to 3 in 2 days. It sure did, man. When XRP moves, it moves violently. And then Ben says, got to take it day by day. Russian says maybe even more than 2, probably close to $3. Actually, glad I'm in now. Believe we still super early, 100%. And then in a couple months, Ripple should get their banking license. Very interesting point. Gotta have a sip of coffee. I believe Ripple is at Davos right now, kind of giving, you know, giving them a chance to surrender, right? It's kind of like, use our token or we'll just replace you altogether. And if Ripple gets their banking license, which will probably happen, then it's a wrap. Because then you almost don't even really need the Clarity Act at that point. But obviously, the Clarity Act is good for all of crypto, so we should still want to see it. I saw a comment from Steph. I saw this exact thing from Kevin O'Leary. He referred to all of our other tokens as poo-poo coins. Kevin O'Leary, I wonder if I have that tweet saved. I might have saved it on my Twitter. How much do you guys want to bet my Twitter got logged out? Oh, it actually stayed open for once. I think I saved that Kevin O'Leary tweet. If I did, we can check it out real quick. Of course, it's always something. Now my Twitter's not syncing up. Oh, this is kind of strange. Okay. I swear, I have nothing but trouble from Twitter. Oh my goodness. All right, I'll go back to the chat. But yeah, I saw that video from Kevin O'Leary. He says to only buy Bitcoin and ETH, but I don't think that he himself really knows how crypto works. Which, in his defense, he's probably so busy that he's got other things going on. But man, it's always Twitter. Nothing gives me trouble quite like Twitter does. Now, of course, Twitter's working just fine on my phone. But that doesn't do us any good here, does it? Very frustrating. Did I save that Kevin O'Leary video? I think I did. I don't understand what's going on. Oh well. The show must go on. We're just gonna have to skip the Twitter segment. Oh, that's too bad because I saw some stuff on Twitter I wanted to show you guys. I guess we'll just keep talking with the chat today. Baller says, I'm sure all those guys that are claiming Bitcoin have some XRP stashed away. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the truth. You know, think about it in a weird way. If these elites don't want you to have something, wouldn't it make sense for them to do like a diversion tactic? Like, hey, buy all this Bitcoin and ETH so that you're not buying XRP. That's a little bit of a tinfoil hat theory, but I could see that one definitely shaking out. Zerp says, I bought my first XRP 2017. I'm mentally and emotionally prepared for XRP under $1 in 2026. I'm not anticipating new all-time highs until after 2026. I'm optimistic for extended cycle or reverse carry trade. There's a possibility. You know, I've mulled that over myself. You know, if the reverse carry trade doesn't happen, we might possibly see XRP fall back down to, you know, the dollar range. I'm not worried at all because it just means that we'll be able to buy more. But I know a lot of people in this space are kind of hoping that, you know, XRP is going to be their exit to what is otherwise kind of a lackluster life. If you just hold on to it, it eventually will be. But I think what Zerp is saying has some merit, that if the reverse carry trade doesn't work out, we might be looking at essentially a crypto winter for the rest of this calendar year. I still think that by the fall, by Q3 and Q4, we'd probably see a new market rally. Because if you look at these ranges, right, if we're just going off the historicals, XRP seems to really move every 2 years. And so like this area right here is a whole year. So 2021 to 2022, we saw some good value from there. But then in 2022, it falls down and it stays in this 30 to 50 cent range for almost exactly 2 years straight. I mean, we're looking at June of 2022 to October of 2024. So just a little bit longer than 2 full years. And then you just get a moonshot. Now, if you were buying XRP in this range, $2 XRP might actually be all you needed, right? To go from 50 cents on November 2nd of 2024 to $3.30 on January 1st of 2025. You know, if you were really staking hard from 2022 to 2024, I mean, someone like that could probably have 100,000 XRP, and that would mean that they've got about, well, not anymore anyways, but at the beginning of 2025, they would have had about like $330,000 just in XRP alone. At that level, they probably really don't need it to go that much higher. I mean, if you have 100,000 XRP, you get to a $10 XRP, you've got $1 million just in XRP alone. So in a strange way, if we do go down to $1, as disappointing as it would be in the short term, you would be able to stack hard. I mean, at $1 XRP, you could probably load up on maybe 20 or 30,000 in 1 year if you really grinded it out. Now, I know we all have different jobs. We're not all making the same amount of money, so only buy what you can afford. But you know, if you make over $100,000 a year, it shouldn't be that hard to at least squirrel away 20K to throw into XRP, and then obviously dollar cost average that at that point. I mean, that's probably coming out of your paychecks at that point anyways, but be careful with lump sums. You can definitely get burned if you buy at the wrong time. Ben says Dave Ramsey doesn't like it. Dave Ramsey is a very interesting fellow because his advice is really only good for people that are like abysmally bad with money. And once you get out of that range, you come to the realization that he's really not that great of an investor. I want to see if my Twitter's working, by the way. Let's just try it again. Okay, sweet. There we go. Dave Ramsey has had some very questionable financial recommendations over the years. I mean, if you're trying to make your grandkids rich, maybe some of his investment strategies will work. But if you're trying to actually change your life, you need to be a little bit more aggressive. And you know, crypto is the aggressive move. It's kind of like being a pioneer. You know, I think it was the Danish or the Dutch. They left Europe, sailed on some boats, and founded North America and built a colony. And next thing you know, you got New Amsterdam, right? Well, you can't have New Amsterdam here in North America, which is New York City, by the way, without leaving your home country. Isn't that risky? Isn't it risky to get on a boat and sail across the world? That sounds pretty risky to me. But that's where the big growth comes from. That's where the big transformations come from. And so buying the most stable thing you can possibly buy and hoping that that's going to make you rich is not going to work. I do want to watch this real quick because this guy, I don't know him too well, but sometimes people send me his stuff. He said basically what I said the other day on stream, which I thought was really interesting, but he also added some color to it, which I didn't have. So I want to watch it real quick. And it's only a minute and a half.
Japan just broke the global financial system, and while every headline tried to blame Trump's Greenland drama, the real story was happening 6,000 miles away in Tokyo, where a political stunt just triggered the worst bond market collapse in 30 years. Here's what happened. On Monday, Japanese Prime Minister Sane Takaichi promised to suspend the 8% food tax for 2 years, a $32 billion annual hole in government revenue. The other political party, they said, well, Takaichi will one-up you, and promised to permanently abolish it. Where's that money coming from? The markets answer: government bonds. By Tuesday, Japan's 40-year bond yield smashed above 4% for the first time in history. So you're wondering, what the hell does this have to do with my crypto bags? Everything. For decades, Japan's near zero interest rates meant traders could borrow to basically buy US stocks, crypto, whatever they want. This carry trade has an estimated $500 billion to $1 trillion in outstanding positions. So when Japan's rates spiked, investors scrambled to sell all those assets and buy back yen to repay the loans, crashing the price of speculative assets. Here's the proof. The 90-day correlation between Bitcoin and the yen just hit 0.86, the highest ever recorded. That means 73% of Bitcoin's recent price action has mirrored the yen. Right now, holding a Bitcoin is basically a leveraged bet on Japanese currency. Trump's Greenland tantrum makes for better headlines, but the real story is Japan's $1 trillion carry trade unraveling.
Pretty interesting stuff. That was kind of what I was saying on stream, although maybe I was a little less electric when I was saying it. But the Greenland stuff might actually be a diversion that Japan's using as kind of a way to blame the market on Trump, right? Like, this isn't us, this is Trump, this is Greenland. And they might be using that as the opportunity to start reversing the carry trade. And then he also had a really good point about Bitcoin's price has been, tracking the yen. That's something I myself have not exactly been doing. So, I thought that he added some good color to that. And, I don't want to come on here and pretend like I know what's going on any better than anyone else. It's like I'm doing the best I can to research this stuff and give my analysis. But I can't help but notice there's a pattern between the yen, or at least the JP10Y, this government bond, going down 10 bips in 2 days, and then at the same time you're seeing the stock market also go down during that exact same window, and also seeing crypto go down in the same window. I do believe there was a liquidation event that brought the bond market back down for Japan. Am I disappointed that XRP's price didn't move from that? Of course, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it still isn't going to, because this thing has a long ways to go. Basically, in order to save the Japanese market, this has to go back like below 1%. So 10 bips is it's some relief, but that's not the full reverse carry trade. I'm blocking the chart. 10 bips right here is not going to reverse the carry trade. It might be a start, but it's not going to be the full picture. And I still think that XRP has a big role to play in this. But I'd be lying to you guys if I said I wasn't a little disappointed that I haven't seen any price action from XRP, at least yet. I'm going to brush up here on the chat on the left. I did want to look at some bearable guy stuff, actually. Ben, I know you'll like that. I was almost wondering if we just do a bearable guy stream. I'm going out of town next weekend for a ski trip, and it might be kind of fun when I'm at the cabin if we just did a bearable guy live stream for maybe like a half hour or 45 minutes, just to kind of keep some regularity with my posting schedule. And we'll just look at that bearable guy photo and see if we can just kind of go on an Easter egg hunt. That would be kind of a low stakes stream. Real easy for me to do on a laptop. I wouldn't have to jump back and forth between screens. And then, I'm going to go skiing after that. So, maybe something to do for my morning coffee next Friday. We'll see. I want to catch up on these chats first. Train says mine's not working either. Okay, that's good to know. Maybe Twitter was just down for a bit. It looks like it's back up. Same thing with Pat. So I'm glad to know it wasn't on my side of things, since I did have that issue in the beginning of the stream that for whatever reason I wasn't outputting any my KBPS. I don't know if you guys even know what that is, but it was at like 0, or like it was at like 50 to 100. When you're streaming, you want it to be around 5,000, which it is right now, so we're good. Zerp says, why is this guy yelling? I don't like the yelling either. It's not my style. And he's got the yellow sunglasses. Yeah. You know, I was thinking for an April Fool's video, what if I dressed up like your typical crypto influencer and just had a outlandishly crazy video where I scream at the camera and do all that kind of fun stuff. It's just not in my nature to be that animated. I think maybe that was another reason my fitness channel didn't quite pop off, is because I can't pretend to be all out excited all of the time. It's just not who I am. Oh man, I think that might be my first sneeze on stream. I usually, as soon as I announce I'm going to sneeze, it goes away, but that time it hit. Frank says, thanks for the live today. Thanks for joining. You guys make all of this possible for me, so I hope that you guys realize that too. It's a two-way street. You know, if you guys aren't here, then I'm basically just talking to my computer monitor. There were a couple of tweets I wanted to look at. If Twitter's working, we'll look at them. I think I closed that Twitter link out, but we'll reopen it and hope that all of this is still working. There's some stuff coming out of Davos that I think is really important. By the way, anytime I see HBAR News, I just like to see that they've got partnerships. This is just a tweet, nothing too crazy to look at, but hundreds of RWAs just went live on Hedera, and it's all the companies that you'd be familiar with: Nvidia, Costco, Walmart. Hedera's moving a lot in the back channels. They're not, for whatever reason, and I don't know why this is, but they don't really do a lot of engagement on the Twitter and YouTube space. But that doesn't mean that nothing's happening. It just means that they, for some reason, don't market themselves as well as something like Flare or Ripple would. But they've also got some partnerships going on with Ondo. I would consider Ondo a deep play. I would put Ondo in my top 10, probably closer to the bottom, maybe around like rank 8, 9, or maybe even it would be 10. Ondo is going to be the big tokenization crypto. And I mean, it's even right here, tokenized stocks. I said that before I even read the word. So when you think Ondo, think tokenization, and you know, it's kind of like crypto's like a football team. You know, you got your running backs, you got your quarterback, you got your wide receivers, you got your, you know, the defense, or you got your offensive line. All these different tokens serve different purposes, but they work the best when they're working together. And so that's why I'm not really a one token guy, even if I do think XRP is like the quarterback of crypto. I want to watch this. This is coming out of Davos right now. There's some discourse between Brian and Brad. I mean, it's very civil, but I don't think that they're completely in agreement. I'm going to start this from the beginning and turn the volume on.
Brad, on that note, there are lots of sound bites there, lots to respond to. You're already seeing the momentum. First up, tokenized assets on Ripple's XRP ledger surged over 2,200% last year. Just weigh in from your perspective.
Well, I think I agree with a lot of what was said here. You know, I do think the first poster child of tokenization was really stable coins. You saw, as Brian observed, you know, massive growth last year. I think, you know, went from, in 2024, $19 trillion of transactions on stable coins. Last year in 2025 is $33 trillion, so about 75% growth. I think many in our industry would say that's going to continue. I think to the extent there's space between what Brian was just talking about and how I think about the Bitcoin idea of a Bitcoin standard, I look at that and I think it's much more of the marriage. Sovereignty of fiat currencies, I believe, is for many countries sacrosanct. Ben Bernanke spoke at a Ripple event many years ago, and he made the point that governments will roll tanks into the street before giving up monetary supply, giving up the control of monetary supply, which stuck with me as, yeah, that makes sense. And so at Ripple, we very much focused on building the bridges between traditional finance, as Bill was describing, what we now call TradFi, and decentralized finance. And that has meant working with a lot of the banks around the world to kind of build those bridges.
Sorry, I was distracted by a comment that I liked over there in the chat. Yeah, I mean, I guess this wasn't the exact message I thought it was going to be. I did save this one. In this same panel, Brian and Brad do go a little bit back and forth on the regulation side of things. And then there's this guy, maybe it's this one that I wanted. Yeah, this is what, I'm sorry, guys. This was the clip I wanted to play. This guy said some stuff that kind of like made me angry, so everyone just kind of chill. But we're definitely going to watch this one because this just goes to show, and we'll play the clip, but these international bankers are the worst of the worst, and we're going to see that in this clip here. Good on Brian Armstrong for handling this with poise, because I would have lost my temper if I was talking to this guy. Let's
Governor,
give this a
you have
listen.
to address this. Is the euro in danger from a Bitcoin standard?
No, I'm a bit skeptical, Brian. Sorry to say it about this idea of the Bitcoin standard. We left the gold standard, but the gold was only a technical mean. What is important is what you say, Brad, that monetary policy and money is part of sovereignty. And we live in democracies, and I think the public role is key. And if we lose that, really you lose a key function of democracy. That said, I always keep repeating that money, as long as it exists for centuries, has been a public-private partnership. You need a public anchor, whatever its form is. Remember, and silver and gold were sovereign assets, so it was on the public side. And then you had banknotes, and you will have CBDC. But anyway, the most important part.
Remember earlier I said CBDC, not a good thing. That's anti-security, anti-self-custody. It's everything that we don't want.
Part of payments is in the private sphere, and this is the development of tokenized private money. But this tokenized private money must be regulated to inspire trust, confidence.
It's fascinating that you say that. Brian, you mentioned a complementary role that you could play.
So I think that crypto is very good for fiat currencies. It's very good. Bitcoin is good as a check and balance on deficit spending, because when there is a lack of trust, or people, from like in a U.S. context, if people are worried about inflation, or maybe in places like Argentina or Turkey or Nigeria, they are going to flee to the thing that they believe is going to store value more. So I think in general it's going to be very complementary, and like you said, I think it comes down to trust. And so if fiat currencies can maintain trust and not have the money printer kind of debasing everybody, then they'll survive. But if countries that have bad behavior on that dimension, Bitcoin doesn't have a money printer. The supply is fixed, and people will go to it in times of uncertainty, kind of like they did with gold.
The guarantee for trust
This is the part that really made me upset.
is independence on central bank side. And we have a common mandate, and we are accountable to that. But sorry to say that I trust more independent central banks with a democratic mandate than private issuers of Bitcoin, which have a very useful role. But
Bitcoin is a decentralized protocol. There's actually no issuer of it. So that's in the sense that central banks have independence. Bitcoin is even more independent. There's no country or company or individual who controls it in the world. And so anyway, I think it's a healthy competition because if people can decide which one they trust more, and I think it's actually the greatest accountability mechanism on deficit spending.
When that guy and the people in the audience as well, when they were laughing, they're laughing at us. I hope that you guys realized it, and I think that you guys probably do. But that laughter wasn't just at Brian, it wasn't just at Bitcoin. They were laughing at all of us, and that really gets under my skin in a bad way. Just to look at that guy's, I wish I could just wipe that smile off that smug face of his. He doesn't even understand how Bitcoin works. And make no mistake, I don't buy Bitcoin anymore for different reasons. But Brian's 100% correct. There's no issuer of Bitcoin. So how could you say that you trust your centralized Democratic bank, by the way? I don't remember voting for them. Do you guys? I've never voted for a banker. So I don't know where this word democratic is coming from, because I certainly haven't voted for it. But to say that you can trust your centralized banks more than something that is completely trustless, it's open source, there is no issuer, there's a finite supply. Everything that guy said, the old guy, not Brian, is why we are just always in this mire where crypto has been ready for over a decade. We could already have been on the tokenized version of finance for quite a while now. It's stuff like this. They're trying to bar our path as much as possible so that they don't lose their own power in the struggle. And I get it. Like, of course they're gonna do that. Like, yeah, obviously. Like, you're not gonna play a game of chess and have your opponent just lay down and let you win. But I still despise them all the same. So make no mistake, I do not like bankers. I do not like them. They're like green eggs and ham. And I am Sam I am. Now, that was really cheesy. I probably shouldn't just, whatever. That was, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just went there. Sam I am. I don't like green eggs and ham. I don't like bankers. They are the scum of the earth, in my opinion. Some of you guys in my video yesterday mentioned that you didn't know Flare was ISO compliant. I don't know exactly when this happened. It could have happened yesterday. Maybe it happened a few days ago. But, you know, you can see ISO 20022 tokens. This is a screenshot from marketcap.com. In fact, we can get there. If you want to see it yourself, go to the CoinMarketCap homepage. And then I believe you go to more categories. And then somewhere in here, I might have to do a Control F to get to it. Do a Control F, do ISO. Here we go. It's ranked 79 on the list. If you wanted to look at this yourself, let's start from the scratch so that you guys can do it. You go to, if you're on the CoinMarketCap homepage, you select more, go down to more categories, and then you can either scroll all the way down to rank 79, or you can do a Control F and type in ISO 2002. But you get here, and this is going to show you all of the tokens on CoinMarketCap. There's only 15 of them right now that are on the ISO 20022. A big shout out to Metal Blockchain. I know one of you guys, I can't remember which one of you, I apologize. But one of you wanted me to really look at this one. Well, here it is. It is on the ISO list. So, you know, that should tell you something, you guys. All of my favorite coins are on here. I mean, it's almost like if you were going to put together a list of tokens to buy, this screen right here is actually a pretty good tell of what to buy. What do we see here? We see XRP at number 1. No surprise there. Now, I don't talk about Chainlink a lot, but I always include it because Chainlink is ISO compliant and they're going to do very well. But then you guys know my favorite coins, you know, Flare, Quant, HBAR. XLM. I don't have any XDC, but you guys have been asking me about it, and I'm warming up to it. They're all in the ISO list. I mean, if there was ever any doubt, if you buy any of these 15 coins, you're probably going to do very well in the next like 5 to 10 years. And I'm sure there's going to be more added to this over time. But to see these ones here already, it means that they're ahead of the curve. And I think that's really important, because this is what allows Swift. If you don't really know what the significance of the ISO 20022 is, I'm still trying to think of the best way to say that out loud. Maybe we'll just call it the ISO. You got to be ISO compliant if you want to be used and integrated with Swift. And so that means that as much as people like Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, they're not on this list, so they can't partner up with Swift, even if you see headlines saying that they will. It's more of like a hype thing. This right here is the what am I trying to say here? I'm brain farting here. This is the regulatory approval to be able to use these coins at scale in the financial system. XRP, HBAR, Quant, Flare. Those are my top 4. Chainlink, Stellar, Elgarand, XDC. Ooh, unfortunately, I don't see Ondo on here, but maybe Ondo will end up on there eventually. Other coins that some of you guys have been asking me about. Zbec is on here. Metal is on here. Some people have asked me about IOTA. IOTA is on here. XPR, I've seen some XPR. I don't know if anyone's really ever asked me about Casper. I feel bad for Cardano. Cardano, people just don't like Cardano anymore. I don't have any Cardano, but I love their founder. He is a real character. If you guys don't know who he is, I'm brain farting on his name right now, but he'll go on Twitter and Charles Hawkinson. If nothing else, this dude is absolutely hilarious. I love listening to him. His rants on Twitter I'm going to follow him just for the ranting alone. He's the founder of Cardano. He absolutely hates the Clarity Act. I don't know if we're going to see any of his stuff here. I'd probably have to dig through it all. I don't think he posts very often. I'm not sure who's sharing his rants, but I don't know if it's actually his own account. But I definitely think that Charles Hawkinson's one of us. I'm looking for the one I just recently saw of him yelling at Brad Garlinghouse. But I don't see it. That's okay. Let's see if I just search it. Charles Hawkinson, Brad. Let's just see what pops up. Is this the one? This might not be the one, but let's just listen, because this might be good altogether. I'm going to start this over.
I mean, there's no issue we have with the XRPL community. They're great people. I think they're just overly sensitive because of the SEC lawsuit and because of historical stuff. And any criticism of Brad, there's some people that run and say, oh, well, you're evil and bad and But at the end of the day, like, the Clarity Act started with a pretty decent foundation, and then there were 137 amendments to the Clarity Act, some of which were. I mean, there's no issue we have with the XRPL community. They're great.
So this kind of cut out early, but yeah, this is the one. We're gonna watch this. This guy is.
And you still got people like Brad saying, well,
for better or worse, this dude is fun to listen to.
And you still got people like Brad saying, well, it's not perfect, but we just got to get something, it's better than no clarity. Hand it to the same people who sued us. Hand it to the same people who put us out of business, who subpoenaed us, who put us in jail. That's better? That's what we fought for? That's what we voted for? And tell me, how do we change it? Like we changed the Securities Exchange Act of 1933. 93 years later, Have we been able to change it? No. You pass it, you own it forever. Sorry, Brad. It's not better than chaos. Take the chaos and fight for what's right. Fight for integrity. I didn't sign up to hand the fucking revolution to 15 banks. To live in a world where everything is a custodial wallet, every transaction is KYC'd, everything is mutable and reversible, can be frozen at a whim when that number comes stamped on my forehead. I signed up for freedom.
He's not wrong. He's definitely not wrong. I'm gonna probably go to hell for this, but he reminds me so much of this video. I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get in so much trouble for this. Let me make sure there's no. There might be music to this.
$1,200 and 7.
Okay, I think we're good. I think I can play this without getting hit with a copyright strike. In the 1% chance that Charles sees this video, I'm just having fun. I like your stuff.
Everyone else spending $1,200 in 7 days.
No, I don't know. I don't know if they're serious. If they're serious, they are. If they actually want to fucking catch them all, that's what they're fucking doing. That's what I'm fucking doing.
I don't think so. I don't think.
Oh, I'm gonna go to hell for that. But that's it. Charles isn't that big, but I'm going to hell for that. The energy is the same. That's kind of how I feel about that. But I do agree with what he's saying here. The Clarity Act is kind of going back on all of the things that a lot of us got into crypto for the first place. I know some people are coming at this from the, I don't care about this, I just want to get rich angle. Some people are coming at it from the financial freedom angle. You have problems with debankment, right? Like just even a few years ago during the whole COVID thing, Justin Trudeau froze all of the truckers' bank accounts that were protesting all of the vaccine mandates and things like that. And it just goes to show, if your government can freeze your bank account, like, how can you have trust in that society? It becomes it's like a trustless society. It's no good. And so if you had a way to prevent yourself from being debanked, you had self-custody of your tokens, you controlled your own wallets, you controlled your own money. I mean, that's really what a lot of people in crypto have been fighting for, whether it's to get rich or to protect your own security. I feel like we're kind of all striving for the same goal. The Clarity Act, as it was written, was kind of like I guess a Trojan horse, or it's kind of like getting lured into a bear trap with honey, right? Like, here's all the money you're going to make, but then they make it so that you can't even access your own wallets. There was some stuff in there that was really scary, that they would basically have a TOS that, Tangem and Ledger and Decent would have to put into their user agreement that your cold wallet would be registered with the IRS. Which means that they'd be able to track your transactions better than using cash would be able to. I mean, with cash, like, there's a reason why they say, like, under the table payments at like restaurants, things like that, you get paid in cash. There's no paper trail, or at least if there is, it's very hard to track. On the blockchain, it's easier to track than anything ever. It's right there down to the ledger. It's on the chain. And if your cold wallet is registered with the IRS, they can quite literally track you better than they've ever been able to. It's all about that digital ID. It's all about really stripping your rights away. And so, even though I kind of just poked a little bit of fun at Charles, it's all in good fun. But he's definitely spot on here. And GK just put out a good point, which I agree with. Charles could be outspoken because he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. That's an excellent point. When you control your own money, you don't have to self-censor anymore. Like even myself, I have to self-censor a little bit because I'm just a guy on YouTube. But and I admire that he's in a position where he can just say what he wants and doesn't have to worry about repercussions. And that's what crypto should all be about. I'm hesitant to bring this up, but if you guys watch or at least are aware of Nick Fuentes, he is debanked like in the ultimate way possible. He's not allowed to bank. He's not allowed to fly on airplanes. All of his business is done through Ethereum. But a side effect of that is that he truly has freedom of speech because he's already been debanked. He's already been basically set as a secondary citizen inside of his own country. And that's why you'll see him going on Piers Morgan or going on other interviews, and he's just unapologetically saying all the same things that he says on his own Rumble stream. And he's able to do that through crypto because you can't take away his Ethereum. So, it's a very interesting thing for us all to think about. Is I know a lot of us are here to get rich, but what are the social implications that come from all of this? I don't think the Clarity Act was, I don't think the Clarity Act is what we wanted, and that was very disappointing. But I'm kind of glad at this point that we didn't get it purely because of what Charles here was talking about. What's going on, Dean? Just saw you hopping in here. Covered off the guy you sent me, if you remember that guy. A little too animated for my liking, but he did have some good information in there. I saved this tweet. It's not necessarily crypto related, but James O'Keefe, not sure how far down this rabbit hole we want to go, but I saved this tweet. It's talking about geoengineering. He's at WEF right now, so he's at Davos. Talking with the same people. Some of you guys have heard me say that these WEF summits are like a get-together for James Bond villains. If you guys wanted to pull at this string, I won't necessarily go down it, especially because we only got a few minutes left. But I'll post a link here in the live chat if you want to kind of get on the more conspiratorial side of things. And it's only a conspiracy theory until it's proven true. And which in James O'Keefe's case, it usually ends up getting proven true. There's some bad characters at WEF. Just because Ripple's there and just because Brian from Coinbase is there, those people, not Brian and Brad, but the people at Davos are not our friends. They are not our allies. They don't have our best interests in mind. We already covered this tweet. Was there anything else? Save this tweet. I mean, we already kind of know Trump loves crypto, so we probably won't have to play that. I'm going to spend some time over the weekend trying to really get the highlights out of Davos. There's some pretty hardcore stuff going on. The Canadian Prime Minister sure had some really drew some lines in the sand. Not that he really has the position to be doing that, but here, I'm going to share my Twitter links with, or I'm sorry, not my Twitter links. How do I get to my profile? I swear, Twitter's so hard for me to use. But here it is. I'll link my Twitter here in the chat. I don't use it a whole lot. You can see I've only got 24 followers on Twitter. I used to have a different Twitter, but it got hacked, and I cannot for the life of me get them to give it back to me. So this is my new Twitter account going forward. I basically use this just to do research and interact with some people a little bit, but Dean says I should make a tinfoil hat that I can wear. I probably should do that because I'm pretty deep into the conspiracy space. I just sort of limit how much I talk about it since, you know, it can get polarizing. Let's put it that way. It can get very polarizing. Zerp says Charles has a lot of opinions for someone who didn't experience the full force of an adversarial U.S. administration and a malicious SEC attack. Ripple fought that battle for 5 years. Good points. Brad's opinion carries far more weight, especially since he and Chris Larson were personally sued. Charles needs to take a seat. That's good points. I think I was not necessarily siding with Charles with his stance on Brad so much as I was his stance on the bank side of things. And I just like how entertaining he is. But those are good points. I mean, Ripple's really been through it with being sued. You know, they've got themselves on the line there. If things don't work out for them, there's potential jail time, things like that. So they've got some skin in the game for sure. I want to start wrapping this up. Looking at this thing live, it looks like Flair's going to Japan. I think I'm probably going to miss this meetup. That one's going to be a little hard for me to make, but hopefully there's some Flair events here in the United States. I noticed that they do a lot of stuff, but I believe they're UK based. So when Flair has like events going on, it's like 5 or 6 in the morning here in the United States, and I miss them like every single time. I hate missing them because I want to be a part of that, but in some cases it just hasn't really been working out that way. But we are at the hour. One of you asked me to look into Gavin's speech. I'll try to watch it tonight, and maybe we'll have a little update on that tomorrow. Beyond that, I shot my first collab video last night. We're going to be working on that. Should be out sometime this afternoon. Shouldn't be too hard for me to edit since it was just a one-on-one interview. Those are generally easier. I just have to cut out the oops and ums, and that should be a good one. Excited to see where this goes. It was an interview with a crypto brokerage. They got some interesting stuff there that I actually think is pretty cool. I'll show it to you guys. It's going to come out later today. They got something here that I think is actually pretty interesting. I'm going to show you guys it specifically. Is that these guys have a 401k option, and I talked to them a little bit about it on the interview yesterday, but this could be something, you know, if you've got, if you're still working, you know, if you're still in your career, maybe opening up a crypto 401k if you're really serious about this stuff could be a good way to get some tax advantaged crypto going. And then this is even more than, you know, just buying the ETFs that are available on like Vanguard or Schwab. Any crypto asset that you could normally buy, for example, you know, your XRP tokens or HBAR tokens, you get the actual tokens. It's not shares of an ETF. So this is some interesting stuff. I'll have that interview out later tonight, and we'll see where that goes. I've been getting a lot of emails. I mean, I got an email just this morning for another collab opportunity. So it's pretty exciting to see how far or how fast things are kind of moving for me. I think it's only a matter of time before I shoot my first video that has an ad in it. I hope you guys don't mind that stuff, because some people have been saying like, oh, we love that your videos don't have ads, or it's just you. And you're still going to get that, but having a couple ads once in a while, it's going to make this something I could do long term, because the ad revenue from just watching videos alone is not as much as people might think it is. And so excited to see where all this goes. I breached 7,000 subscribers yesterday, and it's already up to like 7,300. So one of my videos must be doing quite well. I post so frequently that sometimes I don't know which video is doing what, but we're at 103, so I am going to start wrapping things up here. I want to do some last minute shout outs before we conclude. Let me unshare my screen for this. As always, Dean, always appreciative of the XRP barrel lid. If you guys want some cool XRP merch, he can custom make whatever you guys want. It doesn't have to be what I've got. You can make your own stuff or work with him to any design you want, really. Dean also made this XRP coin, which is gorgeous, by the way. Awesome coin. Even has Ripple here on the back. So really cool stuff. Go to ppclaser.com if you guys want some of your stuff. Over the weekend, I'm going to try to set up a Shopify account so that we can get some custom merch. We've been working on hats. I think some coasters might be cool. Just you know, crypto related, like clothing or like little memorabilia you can keep around the house. It'll help support our channel. Dean's a veteran here in the United States, so you'd be kind of knocking two birds with one stone, supporting, you know, me, and then supporting, you know, one of the audience members right here on the channel. So I'm gonna try and figure that out over the weekend. We tried last weekend, but got roadblocked by not having a Shopify account. So I might just bite the bullet and start one. You have to pay for it, so I was just like, but cost of doing business, we'll work it out. In the meantime, you guys, if you haven't already, make sure to like the stream. That'll help this thing get pushed out for people, even in the even if they're watching it post go live or in the playback. That always helps out. And if you haven't already, I'm imagining most of you guys are probably subscribed, but in the rare event that you found this live stream as we were streaming, make sure to subscribe. And with that, you guys, I gotta get some lunch here. I will see you guys tomorrow. I can leave this up for a few minutes if you guys want to finish out your convos, but otherwise, I'm gonna start taking off here. All right, I'm hungry. I'll see you guys tomorrow.